DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Topic of today's daily motivation is putting in the work when you are tired, even when you're feeling the fatigue, and even when you feel like you don't have the energy to do so. Now, for some of you, you might think this to be a little bit trite, a little bit cliche, like putting in the work when you're tired. Of course, that's what you're supposed to do, right? But let's think about it. How many of you are actually doing it? And I'm not saying how many of you actually get out of bed when you're tired, or go to work on days that you're tired, or go to the gym, or whatever it is you have committed yourself to doing when you're tired. But how are you showing up when you're tired? Because I wrote a book called The Third Day, The Decision That Separates the Pros from the Amateurs, and that whole framework is about how are you showing up and putting your best effort forward even when you don't really feel like putting that effort forward. How are you showing up even when the energy is not there and you're not excited about the situation and maybe nothing is even going the way that you want it to go? Are you showing up the way you're supposed to in those moments? The reason why that matters so much is because when you show up on those days, the days when you don't really have the energy, when you're tired, when you're fatigued, when you're not excited, when you're maybe you're demotivated because of whatever the circumstance happens to be, the more you can show up in those moments, the easier it will be when you have the full energy, when you have the full motivation, when you have the full mental and emotional activation. It becomes easy at that point. To give you an example, this past summer it was extremely humid in Miami, and I like to run outside, so I run outside a couple times a week. And when I run outside this summer, like through all the months of June, July, and August, and I usually would take a month off in the summer, but I decided, I'm not going to take a month off anymore. I'm just stay in shape all the way through. I'm always in shape, but I mean like game shape was a different kind of shape. I was going to just stay in shape all the way through. So June, July, August, the humidity, even though I run early in the morning, I wake up and I'm running at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. It's like 85 degrees outside and humid, and it's very hard to, when you're running at a distance, to breathe with that. It's hard to get air to your lungs. It's hard to get oxygen. So it's very hard, and I wasn't even hitting my ideal numbers through all of the summer. It was like a struggle for me. I mean, relatively, if somebody was watching me, they would say that guy's pretty fast compared to most people, but for me, the numbers were off. And I did that through the whole summer. But then when I got to the end of August and the air started to get just a little bit cooler, like instead of it being 85 degrees in the morning, it's 80 degrees, just that little bit of difference, then it felt like nothing. Like it felt like I was running, it wasn't even hard for me, and I started hitting my numbers the right way. The whole point being because I pushed myself so hard during this hard months, which we call the third day, you get to this point that we call the fourth day. And the fourth day is when the work doesn't actually get any easier, it just feels easier, and you make it look easy simply because you've been pushing yourself to a certain standard, you've been pushing yourself through a certain circumstance and at a certain standard for so long that when that standard, not the standard, but the challenge gets just a little bit less than it was, now everything feels like it's nothing. But what I'm looking at as nothing is still a challenge for most people because they never push themselves to at the hard level, like that 85 degrees at 4 in the morning, like I was doing all through the summer. The whole point being, you got to put in the work even when the work is not fun, even when the work is not going the way that you want it to go, even when you're not getting the outcomes that you want to get. That's when you most have to push yourself, because that's when you're going to make the biggest leaps. That's when you're going to make the most jumps. That's when you really build the character. That's really where you build the endurance, you build the mental toughness. That's where you build the heart. So for all of you right now who's in a circumstance where you're feeling that fatigue, whether it's emotional fatigue, spiritual fatigue, mental fatigue, or physical fatigue, understand that's supposed to happen. I remember when I tried out for a football team as a youth. I never really played football because my family couldn't afford football equipment. So I never really played football, but I did go to football, practices / tryouts for a few weeks. And I remember they used to have us do this like ab exercises in the middle of the football practice, and the coach would yell out to us while we were all this is like 8, 9-year-old boys on the football team. And the coach would yell out to us while we were doing the ab exercises. He was like, "Does it hurt?" And we wasn't sure what to say because it did hurt. It was hurting all of us. But we thought maybe we were supposed to say no, like to act like we was tough, or just to tell the truth and say yeah. So some people would say no, some people would say yeah, and the coach would respond back, "It's supposed to hurt." The whole point is it's supposed to hurt. All right, it's not supposed to be easy. Everything in life, everything you do in life is not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be fun. It's not all supposed to be one big cakewalk. There are times that it's supposed to be challenging. It's supposed to be a struggle. It's supposed to be times when you're not sure you made the right decision by even signing up for this thing, whatever it is that you're doing. Those are the times that you push yourself. You can push yourself through that. Everything else becomes easy. The normal days are nothing once you get through that. So with that said, y'all, send out this daily motivation text every day for free. You want to get that? Text me at this number, 305-384-6894. Every day when that daily motivation text goes out, everyone in my text community is going to get that message. Guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point to start your day. Secondly, I want you to leave a comment to this video, and here's what I want you to tell me in a comment. What you did differently based on this video. Don't tell me that you got excited or hyped up or motivated by this video, even though it's called the daily motivation. I hope you're motivated by it, but just motivating you don't really mean anything. The only place where motivating you is really worth something is if I'm doing like professional speaking. They'll just pay me to come give a motivational message and I'll take the money. But for y'all, I want y'all to get some actual results. I want you to be actually doing something that you can look at and say, I did this. Tell me what you did based on what you heard from today's daily motivation video. If you didn't do it yet, don't say it yet. But after you do it, leave a comment on this video. Let me know what you did based on this vid. Also, make sure you do all the YouTube stuff. Like the video, share the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and Work on Your Game University. That's where I do all my coaching. That's where all my high-level trainings and frameworks and courses are at. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. If you want to be coached by me, the only way to get coached by me is to get on a call with me or somebody on my team. We'll find out where you're at, where you want to go. If we can help you and we feel like you'd be a good fit, we'll tell you, hey, here's how it works. Here's what it will look like. That's all at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Link and the number to my text down below in the description. Work on your game. Dre all day.